see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Thursday, March 6th, 2024, and this is episode 649 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled, Why So Busy? And I'll be chatting about why we got so busy. I don't know, but I've been asking myself this question for a few weeks now, and it kind of lined up with something that I read yesterday, so I threw it on the list today. Maybe we'll explore it a little bit. I don't seem to think that we will figure out the answer. Also going to talk about some Nosrt updates as I'm diving into the best way to onboard people and catching up on some just odds and ends from the show notes the last couple days or so. So before that, let's check out who is in the live chat, who's over there in that coffee crew. Grab a cup of coffee, hang out for an hour. As Rewilder Life says, she already drank her coffee, so she's just going to be eating chili. Hey, everybody, grab a bowl of chili and hang out for an hour. What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Pip in early. Why so busy? Which excuse do you want? That seems like a common theme as I've explored this topic a little bit. Jen G says, not so busy anymore. Decided to arrange my life differently. Couldn't be happier. Good morning, Jen G. Thanks for coming back again. Pip said he's figured out arranging parts. He's figured it out halfway decent, but arranging his life, not so much. Rewilder Life says she hurt herself by starting too many projects and experiments. Good morning, Pickle Pete. Good morning, Jim. Frozen Seattle, back to rain this morning. Beautiful pink sky in Michigan. And Haas hanging out. Listen, all of these people are so excited to be here in the morning. Pickle Pete says it's the illusion of busy. I don't know if it's the illusion of busy. I don't know. Morning Hunter swinging in over on Twitch. How's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Before we get started, let's talk about what's in the cup today. We got more Hector, the light Colombian. If you don't have Hector in your cup, I don't know, you're missing out. You're missing out. Pickle Pete says his is, he chills a lot. Yeah, I find myself relaxing a lot more than I give myself credit for. And I try to change it quite often, but this is more us as in general. But anyway, Hector, the light Colombian, he is in the cup this morning. This fantastic light Colombian from Food Forest Farms. If you are interested in trying out Food Forest Farms and you haven't tried it yet, you can use a discount code LOTS10. That's LOTS10 at checkout over at Food Forest Farms. That'll get you 10% off. That is a one-time discount code. 10% off Brian's already low prices over there at Food Forest Farms is it's saying something, guys. It is definitely saying something. And if you roll on and explore the C4 Club and you end up jumping on board with that, your price is it's bottom of the barrel. I have to tell you, it's bottom of the barrel for the price on what the product you get is. The product Brian puts out is absolutely phenomenal, and his price compared to everyone else, especially with the C4, is it's out of this world. So definitely check it out over at foodforestfarms.com. Remember, LOTS10 for that discount, 10% off, one-time coupon code, and that should be enough to let you know that you should be joining the C4 and grabbing $40 worth of this coffee every month is not a bad thing. So check it out today, foodforestfarms.com. Good morning, Backwoods Butcher. How we doing? Hey, haven't checked in with you in a while. Still no smoky smoke, no siggy sigs, no Nicky teens. Did you go live last night when your ban ended? posted a picture in our group. Yes, in my group. It is our group, I guess. In my group yesterday on Telegram that I appealed the TikTok ban, and the message, you got 30 days? No way. So it wasn't me. Holy shit. You got 30 days? Did you appeal it? Oh. Whew. He was talking 30 days about smoking. Oh my god. Oh man. Wow. Oh, Kyle, you wow. Thanks. That threw me for a loop. Kyle, congratulations. Congratulations on not smoking for 30 days, my man. That is fantastic. That is even more than a leap year. That is even more than a leap year February. So right on, brother. Right on. Keep it rolling. Because man, 2 years, 2 years, 5 years, 8 years later, don't pick it up again. Don't pick it up again. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead. He says, good morning, you strange and wonderful people. And I think that every morning when I hit that intro music is how much I appreciate all the strange and wonderful people that come that come and hang out. Congratulations on the no cigarettes, Kyle. And you got 3 days, so it's up. It expired last night. Did you go live? Did you go live? Because I know you were really upset and you were thinking that it probably hurt your momentum of going live and all that. And did you go live last night? No, I didn't see a notification. Everybody needs to go. If you don't follow Kyle on TikTok, you really should. He is definitely putting a yeoman's effort into it. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, he had a zoning board meeting. That's right. I forgot he is a councilman now. Or what is your actually, is it just zoning board member, or does that give you any sort of title or something? He's part of the government. Oh, all right, guys. Well, I think it's been, oh man, it's been years actually. It's been years. It's been recently, I would have to say a month or so. Let me see. A month or so. He's a giant. Okay. Let's get back to Kyle for a second. Canadian Farmstead said Kyle, he's a giant member. Reweiler Life outed him as a spy, and he says he's a zoning board alternate. Even the alternates have to go. Is that like what is the stand-in? What is what's the backup person in a play called? Oh man, where you have to jump in at a moment's notice. Oh, and Kyle is now comparing himself to Ron Swanson and trying to limit the power of the town as much as possible. Understudy. Understudy. Hunter grabs it. Canadian Farmstead says Ron Swanson's his spirit animal. I think most people in this chat would identify with Ron Swanson at some point in their life. Good morning, Chris Dixon and Blakesley Akers. Understudy it is. Hunter came in with it hard and quick, and Pickle Pete rolled in with it again. Yeah, Kyle is the zoning board understudy, and Chris Dixon says, nah, he's just on the practice squad. Oh, anyway, guys, man, like I said, it's been years and years that I've contemplated being busy. Good morning, Cormac. Thanks for stopping in. It's got to be about lunchtime for you. And then recently I started thinking about it as I kind of dove into what I wanted to do, the future of the show, Sony board P Squad, the future of the show, how I wanted to do that, where I was, the effort juice squeeze equation with the show prep, and that Haas is wondering who Ron Swanson is. Oh gosh. Um, and so that got me thinking about being busy, why we do things, the purpose of why we do things. Um, then we kind of moved into watching Alone, Corey and I, and really, really contemplated what we do on a day-to-day basis. So our life is really, Corey and I talking our life at this moment really has gotten slower, I guess. Kind of systematically pulled away from everything and ended up being a minimalist and driving towards that, getting rid of things, simplifying things. And when you're in an RV and now that we're stationary now, but when we were moving, you really just do the things um yeah, I got to check out the Whipples live on YouTube. For sure, Rachel. I thanks for reminding me. We finished a season with when she was on by herself last night. But as we traveled around and we would set up, and kind of our MO when we were traveling was um we would travel 1 day a week and sit for a week. Travel for a day, sit for a week. So basically, you have 7 days. The first day was day one was travel, get where we were, set up. The next day, we tried to decompress. We tried to relax a little bit because Corey's still working full time. Corey works full time remote from the camper. So every day of the weekdays, she's occupied for 8-ish hours. So I did a lot of the things, and I still do, as far as like scouting out food. Yes, it was a grocery store. I get that, or a Walmart, or whatever. But I was scouting food for us and the dogs. I found where we were going to get our water if it wasn't if it wasn't um, on site, or figured out how to get it from where it is to where it is going. Um, and just the things to day by day, doing the laundry and doing this, and basically I was a combination of like the old hunter gatherer husband and the modern day housewife, doing the things that needed to be done on a day-to-day functioning basis. So that really slowed our life down from what it had been before we left, where it was we were on a homestead, we both had full-time jobs, we both were gone. Like my full-time job was more like a full-time and a half job. Then we were retrofitting at the end, we were retrofitting the camper to take off. So we were working on that. We were getting the house and the farm ready to sail. And we also we still had some animals up until almost the end, so we still had some chores. We were still trying to enjoy the property, so we were super busy. Canadian Farmstead says that's what you need to be when you have a sugar mama. I try to take care of my sugar mama as much as possible. Rewilder Life says, and people think folks being the one that who isn't the breadwinner is easy. No, it's not. And it's not for sure. And Chris Dixon says a daily journal helps you map your life, whether you want to be busy or not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as we transition to that, I was like, holy shit, I got all this stuff to do. And like Brian, like Pickle Pete said earlier today, um, we're not necessarily as busy as we think we are. When you get to the end of the day, Chris Dixon just said a journal. Um, just when you sit down and you think about what you did, and you're like, oh my god, I couldn't have done everything else. I routinely at the end of the day go, yeah, I wasted some time. I wasted some time. Rewild Their Life says she's a list maker and it feeds her dopamine to check those babies off. Yeah, I do that, but then I I get in the habit of putting too many things on the list and then realizing that I'm not going to get to the end of the list and crossing them off. Yeah, then they just accumulate. And then the rest of the list doesn't move on to the next and I get behind. So, um this all really got me contemplating though, not on a day-to-day basis, if why we're so busy, was how did we shift away from having the time to live our lives while we're living, while we're not retired and strolling down the beach hand in hand, because that's always what actually happened. Jim, are all of your contemporaries or all of your people that you're friends with your age, are they just strolling on the beach every day, or are they more likely strolling into a doctor's office and and over to the medicine cabinet or to the pill box? Like, what is the majority of this country when they if and when they get to retire and slow down and enjoy those golden years? Does it happen? Does it happen? Um, Backwoods says Jim's just walking towards the light. Oh man, sorry, I forgot to pop over here on Nosrt. Um, hey Jim, thanks for the zap. I appreciate that over on Nosrt. And Jim also says, tell Kyle that doesn't happen on Nosrt. That hey Jim, thanks for stopping back over on YouTube. Uh, I forgot to pull the chat up. I'm still getting used to this Nosrt thing. I'm still getting used to this Nosrt thing for sure. But I wondered, and I've gone through this before in my life. Like I've looked at the whole evolution of, back in the 50s, Jim was out feeding the ducks, wandering around in his underwear feeding the ducks. Am I dreaming? Is it over yet? Um, what when did that transition happen from our lives being simple? One income is plenty. Um, it's a team effort. One takes care of the home. It was a mirror of the hunter gatherer societies where one party, and I'm not saying man, woman, traditionally it was the man that went out and the woman took care of the home, and it is what it is. Like I definitely have a sugar mama here, so I am not into the whole stereotype there. It is what it is. But one person went out and procured food, outside resources, whatever it is, and the other one took care of the home, the children. And as we transitioned into needing all this stuff and increased income, it was required. The It became two income households. It became this and that, and I looked at that a lot. I I I looked at it a lot a long time ago. Like, as I was making the transition into this, probably 7-8 years ago, as we were going to the farm and I was looking in, just, as I was looking into when we were going to the farm and we were trying to figure out how we were going to pay for it, it sent me down a rabbit hole. Canadian Farmstead says it comes down to inflation. It doesn't. Well, it does. That's part of it. But I started trying to figure out why we both had to work. Like, why do we both have to work? We watched Leave It to Beaver. We watched all those shows from that era. There was no two income households. Why can't we do that now? And Canadian Farmstead hit part of it, and he said it comes down to inflation. The other part was, look at all the shiny things that they put in front of us. Look at what we pay for now. And that's where I ended up stopping when I was looking at it. When I was looking at when I was looking at it at that point in my life, was I stopped there. I was like, oh my God, it's consumerism. That's what changed it. The old shows with Leave It to Beaver had a phone on the wall, no TV, no internet, no house full of shit, not two cars, because we didn't need two cars at that point. Dad took the car to work and mom used the car on the weekends to go get groceries or in the evening or whatever. So there wasn't two cars. There was no need for two cars. There was there were no cell phones. There were a ton of possessions laying around. People were coming out of an era in the Depression where they saw they saw what it was to be poor. And I don't know if it was TV. Kyle says women driving, terrifying thought. I don't know if it was TV and commercials, and I've gone back and forth. Like, I've revisited this place where I stopped when I was like, oh, this was it. It was all the consumerism. Oh, and then he comes back with a joke. Dude, you're not going to get banned from my chat for making a joke, man. This isn't Tiggity Talk. Now, don't drop any giants or anything. So when I stopped and I blamed it all on consumerism, I was like, I've explored it a few times. And Corey and I, slowly but surely have kind of drawn away from that. But when I started watching Alone, well, I guess there's another spot in between there. So we've made ourselves have to be busy by all the shit that we want. And it always appears that we don't have enough shit. So we're always having to buy more. You're like, well, I could work really hard for a couple of weeks and buy the stuff I wanted, but we always want more. So that was one thing that really stuck out to me. And we're talking like long-term thinking, not like yesterday contemplating. So let me look here real quick, because I think somebody had a good point on this. Chris Dixon said, I wanted to hit this before I got too far away. Chris Dixon said, everyone thinks a journal needs to be filled with profound thoughts. It can be a day planner. You can write downtime for when you put your feet up or you go to do something and ended up playing Legos. Yeah, a journal is just getting your brain out on paper so you can look at it and realize that you're stupid, I guess, or pretend that you're smart. And Ray Wilder Life says, we went from production households to consuming households, but we also have inflation. It's both. It's rarely one thing. Yeah, it isn't one thing. I stopped with one thing. I stopped with the consumerism, and becoming production household or becoming consuming households instead of production households is big time. Um, and even the amount, so when we were production households, even in the transition from production to consumption, our consumption levels have gone up so much, and we don't make anything. So it's kind of like an inverse, the consumerism just going up, and that X, the production going down. No one made anything from themselves, and they were buying and wanting more than before. So it was like a reverse. They were speeding away from each other. Haas says, and waste too, very much so. Pickle P says mainstream media gets you to focus on the wrong goals. Years later, after you achieve getting the things, you realize the things suck and cycle starts again. Um, and for some reason, Kyle hates grown adults that play with Legos. I don't know. So I moved on. From the consumerism, kind of a little bit. I started thinking about not all the time spent working, and this wasn't my area. This was something that I observed in society, and um I observed in society, I observed in people I knew, but we also got busy doing shit. Doing shit that really doesn't matter, I think. I think it was, they talk about keeping up with the Joneses as far as car, house, all that, the big house, the big car, the nice car, blah, 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 blah. Go to Tractor Supply and buy some fencing instead of Legos. I think you might get in trouble in this chat with Legos because I think they're fun. Um, One thing similar to keeping up with the Joneses with the products is it felt like everybody needed to do all the things. I know that's a cheeky phrase that people use in this society, in this space. All the things. I'm doing all the things. Shut the fuck up. Stop thinking you have to have your kids in every single activity that's going on the planet at the same time. Stop thinking that you have to join every social club or every activity and be doing something constantly that doesn't progress your goals. I read an article a long time ago about the transition in our society in America where we stopped thinking about ourselves first and started thinking about our kids. And our kids became the focus of everything in our life. When we stopped taking care of ourselves and only took care of making our kids the focus of our attention. Chris Dixon says people make chaos on a purpose. Pickle Pete says super parents. Kyle says Legos are fun. I play them with my kid. So just take the kids out of the equation and play some Legos, dude. So I think the consumerism made us work more. The consumerism made it 2-income households, 3-income households, 6 jobs for each person. And then you have to have the kids and all the stuff. Rewilder Life says sometimes kids' activities are about us and our ego. Yes. When you focus on only the kids, it destroys their relationships from Canadian Farmstead. Yes. Um, Chris Dixon says we can blame our kids for not getting shit done. Yeah, yeah. But it seems like no one enjoys shit anymore. Like we're just doing it to doing it. We're going in through the motions. I don't think people really stop and ask why. And so this moved me to alone. So this was over the last probably decade I've been exploring this in my head off and on. So originally it was consumerism, and I've really thought about that over the years and why that whole thing happened, whether it was on purpose, whether it was it the ego of the people, or was it the advertising of the big corporations and blah blah blah. There's 100 million theories on why it happened. Egg chicken conversation, I assume. Like one thing happened and the other one was like, oh, okay. I don't think it was probably intentional. It was probably a perfect storm. I don't know. um Haas says sometimes on your walk it's nice to stop and smell the roses. Why aren't we smelling the roses on the whole walk? Why aren't we exploring for the roses on the whole walk? Why are we stopping to smell the roses? Is my question that I've gotten to. So I explored that. I've watched from the outside as society just got busy. I do have a son. He lives with his mom. He's grown. He's in his 20s now. So I don't have that. It's interesting to watch. I have 4 nieces and nephews. I have countless friends with kids. I have countless friends without kids that are in this same situation that are having to do all the things. And I always wonder, and I don't do it because I don't think anybody really take you serious. Um, it it is it would be interesting to ask them why you're doing this. Why are you doing everything during their day? And I've started to try to do that to myself. Why am I doing this? And I fail miserably about halfway through the day. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I just have to get this done. But if you could stop and ask yourself why you're doing everything all day, I think that would kind of clear up this unintentional wastes of energy, in my opinion, sometimes. And maybe you have a great reason. Maybe you have a great reason for having your kid constantly shuffled from spot A to spot B, where you're having to do this and take that burden on. Maybe. Cool. Whatever. I look at it from the outside and go, this is nuts. So recently, I started thinking about this again, and it's been over the last month or so. Kyle says if I get on a loan before he gets on Survivor, he'll be pissed. I'm not applying for a loan. Don't worry. But alone, we watch Survivor because Kyle wants to be on Survivor. If you guys don't know, Backwoods Butcher is obsessed with Survivor and he wants to be on Survivor and he's applying for Survivor. He's gonna be on the show. I am not going to be on a loan. I mean, if they called me up and said, "Hey, you want to do this?" I'd be like, "How much? How much do I get?" But I'm not applying. But we did finish all our free Survivor episodes, backlog episodes, just to get familiar with the show again. If my buddy gets on it, I really want to know what's going on, and he better I better be his friend from home because we would have so much fun on the island. So much fun. 6'5" needs a lot of calories. That is true. So we got done with Survivor and I started watching Alone just as something to watch. And I really took a lot out of it, and it really spun me back into it really spun me back into thinking about why we're so busy. Why we do all this. And it really came from the how well the contestants were doing. Which contestants were doing well. And I was listening to more what they were saying than I think that the show was focusing on. Their mental state, the things that they were doing on a daily basis, and really thinking about the ones that were doing well. They seem to understand that there's a minimum to do. Like, really, there is a minimum in our life that we need to do. And I'm not naive to the fact that I need to do more with my life than just put calories in my mouth, drink enough water, keep warm, have shelter, the basics of survival. But the guys that realize that they're not trying to survive there, they're trying to live there. They said, I am going to live here until they come and pick me up. And I'm alone doing it. Big deal. Big deal. I am going to live my life. I know the basic needs of my life. And beyond that, let me entertain myself. And is that why we went into consumerism? Because we're entertaining our minds? Because we forgot that you can contemplate things, you can think about things, you don't have to always be moving. We can stop and smell the roses, like Haas said, or we can smell the roses all day. We can walk through our lives observing things and not focused on buying the next video game or getting our kids to fucking soccer practice after basketball practice in baseball season. The people that focused on getting their necessities done and then occupying their brain, occupying Chris Dixon says people are scared to be alone with their own thoughts and need constant distractions. Interesting. I think once your necessities are done, you covered that. Like, you're not going to starve, you're not going to be dehydrated, you're not going to be cold. Why do we have to accelerate beyond that? Haas says he knew somebody on Naked and Afraid. Kyle got selected for Naked and Afraid, but for some reason his pregnant wife didn't want him leaving while she was pregnant. So I don't know. I don't know why we're obsessed as a society to be busy. I'm trying not to be busy. I'm trying to not be busy. I'm trying to be busy. I'm trying to be productive. Let's change the word. I'm trying to be productive. And I'm trying to be productive in a way. Jim says pregnant women can be so selfish. Squeak, squeak. dropping bombs in the chat. I'm trying to be productive. I'm trying to shift my life to be productive, and I'm trying to shift my life to be productive right now so that I'm passively productive when I want to smell the roses. I want to be able to sit down and watch alone in the evening with my wife and not worry about the fact that I didn't get enough done for the day. I want to have multiple purposes to the things I'm doing, not have to do multiple things to achieve a purpose, I guess, is one way to say it. I don't know. And right on cue, I I was trying to figure out when I wanted to talk about this, because obviously you can see that it's just been this long ongoing thought in my brain, and it really isn't even, I haven't even fleshed it out yet. I don't have any answers. I have questions. I have lots of questions about this. And I was trying to figure out how to talk about it. I was trying to figure out how to make it a discussion, and it's kind of worked because you guys are great in the comments. And yesterday, I sat down to read my daily Stoic, and lo and behold, it told me that I was supposed to talk about this, because I got to grab it real quick. And if you haven't started reading the daily Stoic, man, I would consider it. There's a link in the video description. There's going to be a link in the comments if you want to go pick up the hardcover from Amazon. They also have the ebook style. I really like the hardcover. It's really the way to go. I know Pip picked it up and some other people. I hope they're all enjoying it. But yesterday, as I've been going back and forth for a couple weeks about this topic, I've touched on it here and there on the show. This is what the Daily Stoic from Seneca was. It said, "So concerning the things we pursue and for which we vigorously exert ourselves, we owe this consideration. Either there is nothing useful in them, or most aren't useful. Some of them are superfluous, which others, while others aren't worth that much. But we don't discern this and see them as free when they cost us dearly." So basically, he's saying, look around you and figure out what the cost of all your shit is. So this isn't a new thing. I was going down the road of consumerism, and the evil government put it in our fucking brains and put commercials on the TV. And yes, that might have amplified it, but goddamn Seneca was talking about all the shit that we have that doesn't matter, and all the shit that we think that we got for free that literally costs us stuff on a daily basis. Whether it's just occupying space in our brain, it's occupying space in our dwelling, it's costing us to maintain or store or just have around shit we don't need. Look around you and think about all the shit you haven't touched in a month, in 6 months, in a year. What's it costing you? Is it? Maybe you don't think it is, and maybe it isn't. Maybe it's sitting on the shelf. Maybe that stupid thing that you had to buy that you never touched after, sitting on that shelf somewhere, doesn't cost you anything. Or maybe it really does, and you just haven't figured it out yet. But anyway, Seneca talking about having all this shit and not knowing why, talking about the unrealized costs of all of this. Chris Dixon, as always, says, oh, excuse me, that was Jim. Chris Dixon says, why do we always think that what we're doing is groundbreaking? People have been around for thousands of years doing the same shit, being busy, being lazy, being stupid. So I don't necessarily think we were doing the same thing. I think that there were more effective means of amplifying the consumerism, I guess. But yes, we're not new to this. Jim says this pack rat has moved the same shit 3 times in 7 years. Yeah. Put it in an RV and move around for a while. You'll determine how much you really actually want to haul around with you. Pickle P says it's his axiom. Assets are obligations. You have to spend life, energy nonstop to get and then protect and maintain. It's a huge cost. Jen G says, I didn't realize that busy was such a thing for most people as in a lifestyle. Time has always been precious for me, alone time especially. Pip says, ask me about how much personal stuff I have stored at my work. Doubt I need any of it anytime soon. Yeah, Corey and I, I got in a conversation the other day. Pip nailed it on that one because I got in a conversation with Corey the other day about the startup I worked for. And I had and they transitioned me out of the job while I was on vacation. So I had taken a week of vacation, and they found that the opportune time to send me a FedEx with my termination papers. I was like, okay, cool. You did me a favor. And so I called my boss, who I really liked, and said, hey, I got the building keys because I like had keys to the building. I had all that shit with me. I said, hey, I got the keys. Did you need me to drive 90 minutes to give them to you? Can I mail them back? He's like, don't worry. We've already changed the locks, which was impressive. I was like, all right, toss those in the trash. And he said, you have a locker full of stuff here. Like, this was a big locker, like high school, not one of those halvesy little work lockers. This was like a full size locker. And I had been working there for 5 years. And they said, he's like, I can pack up all your locker in a box and mail it to you if you want. Or I can pack it up and you can stop by and pick it up if you want. I said, no, I don't want any of it. Throw it away. I don't want any of it. Throw it away. It was all personal stuff. It wasn't work gear. They took their work gear back. They took their safety equipment. They took their hard hat and their safety vest and all that stuff. I had a locker full of personal things that with no thought whatsoever, I said, throw it away. I don't want it. Granted, everything there smelled like refined diesel fuel and worse. But, it was a pile of stuff at work, a pile of personal stuff at work that I was just willing to, at an instant, say, throw it away. I don't need it. Why didn't I realize that I had a whole bunch of shit in my house that was the same thing? Why wasn't I asking myself, do you really want this? Do you want me to pack it up and mail it to you? Do you want me to pack it up and you can come and pick it up? Or should you just get a fucking dumpster and throw it in there? Because it's serving no purpose. It's taking up space. And maybe we don't need the 3,000 square foot house if we don't have it full of shit we don't need. Corey and I are thinking about a cabin that we want to build, and we're thinking about sizes and realizing that we don't want it to fill with shit. We want to build it, and we're contemplating building it a little bigger just for room to move around, for empty space, for negative space, not for space to hold more shit. Jim says, woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head, found my way downstairs and dragged a cup. And Canadian Farmstead said Jim's having his Beatle flashbacks again. Jim also said in the 70s, his dad, wait, The 1870s? In the 70s, my dad screamed about the double-digit inflation, moved us from the city to the country, and started a homestead. And here we are like it's a new idea. I mean, Ted Kaczynski went out in the woods and lived in a little cabin by himself too. So that's not new. Haas says, nice. I'd like to build a tiny house to live in also. Yeah. Pickle Pete flashbacks are free. Good morning, John Palmer. Thanks for swinging in. I appreciate you every day stopping in at the end, even though you know it's close to the end and you go back and listen. Man, I can't ask for anything more than that. Appreciate it. And all the love on the review videos. Appreciate it. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing. This isn't a done thought for me by any means, but it kicked me in the balls to put it on the show notes when Seneca and the Daily Stoic just threw it in my face and said, why don't you just talk about it a little bit? Pip says, I may just trade my Bitcoin for a few acres in Tennessee and leave it all behind. Yeah. Chris Dixon says, look how productive Ted was. He wrote books. That dude wrote so many books. He was the bomb. Oh man, that dude was smart. Have you ever gone down the Ted Kaczynski rabbit hole? Like really took some time to dive into old Teddy K. He was an interesting cat for sure. If you can get over the fact that he blew a bunch of people up. He had a lot of time to write letters. Jim caught the joke. Awesome. Later, Chris Dixon. Thanks for being here and contributing. Always spot on. Hunter said, did he write books? Journals, I guess you would call them. Manifesto. He wrote a manifesto, obviously. He wrote letters to people that were explosive. And he also wrote lots and lots of journals. I mean, all you have to do is dive into his manifesto. The dude was brilliant. He also had ties to MK Ultra, and yeah, so down. That'll be tomorrow's show, down the Ted Kaczynski rabbit hole. Hey Kyle, do you want to go live on TikTok and talk about Ted Kaczynski? Oh, you wanted a 30-day ban, right? My hat is all crooked today, guys. I think it got sat on or something. Anyway, a couple minutes left here. I've been digging into Nosrt. I've been digging in because I want to figure out the I want to Pip says, meanwhile, we all go to Nosrt after Brian gets banned from everything, everywhere, and everything else. Yeah, maybe. Definitely going to be a shift over there. Again, I forgot to pull up the notes, but I think it's only Jim hanging out. Hey, Jim, thanks for hanging out. It's amazing. If you are over on Nosrt, drop something in the chat, even if it's not a zap or anything. Drop something in the chat when you stop by, because I see that a lot of people stop by in the dashboard after the fact. And it's yeah, just say hi. Just say good morning. But I went back and I watched people ask how to onboard. This last Facebook freak out and all of that, I said, why aren't you on Nosrt? Nosrt didn't go out, and they're like, what's Nosrt? And I started talking to somebody, and they were really open to it. They're into Bitcoin, they're into new tech, they're into blockchain, they're into a lot of things. Jim's wondering if there's a share button there. I don't know yet. I haven't dug in. I have to do some Nosrt only stuff so I can, like, in test mode, or not trying to entertain anybody or talk to anybody and figure it out just on Nosrt. I'll figure that out in a minute. But basically, I tried to send him my video. Before I sent him my video, I said, let me watch it. So the video was 11 months ago. It's so out of date. One of the services I use is by invite only now. One of the well, actually, all the clients and all the things I use to sign up have evolved in 11 months. Like, Nosrt is evolving so fast that making content about it is really hard. It's kind of like Drew said when I did the Blockstream interview. Making content about Blockstream is so hard because the minute you publish it, they release something else. Before you can even get done recording stuff about Nosrt, it's changed. It's okay. It's not bad. It's improvements, but it's so new. It's so new. So I went back and watched my video. I said, hey, I have this video. It's probably not going to help you all that much, but if you get hung up, let me know. I'll walk you through it. I'll figure out the new way to do it. And then I mentioned it. Somebody else was like, hey, what's that? Like, it would be really cool to check that out. And so I did. I got myself a new account there. Like, I went into a private browser. Like, I didn't have anything done. And I'm exploring the path of least resistance to get started on there and start enjoying it and start participating in it. And there's going to be some best practices stuff in there, like how to not just sit there and be like, this sucks, because it's not what I want. Like the meme where he's got a stick and there's a rock and he's like, do something. That's not how it works. It's not fucking Facebook. So I started going down that path and I found some really cool stuff, some really, really slick options. And if you want to explore them yourself, if you want to go down this rabbit hole before I get a chance to do a tutorial video or a live stream or whatever, check out Primal on iOS or Android. Had somebody check it out for me on iOS too. But Primal, you can put in the App Store, the iOS Store. You can type Primal. It's got like a little swirly thing, a little swirly logo, depending on if it's in dark mode or light mode. The colors are different, purple and orange and red, maybe. If you type in Primal Nosrt client, Primal as in like Primal original, Primal, Nosrt, Nostr, not ER, Nostr client, CLIENT, into your app store, and you download that, you're likely going to be able to muddle through it if you take your time and read the screen on how to set it up. If you wait a week, I'm trying to be sure to get this done by the end of the weekend. I have some more things to figure out before I can do it. I can do it and feel confident in it. This is a good way to sign up. It works for everybody. But if you want to roll on mobile, sign up with Primal. It has a Lightning wallet in it. Basically, if you ever heard me talking about the Wallet of Satoshi thing where they shut it down, Wallet of Satoshi was a very convenient option for people to use to interact with Nosrt to handle the zapping side of it. The zapping, basically the value for value tipping. If you're in the Telegram group, basically Lightning, instead of hitting the heart, is it Primal Systems? Let me look, Haas, before I answer that in the positive. It is. This is what it looks like. If you can see that on the live screen, that's the note there. Primal Systems Incorporated. Yes. Primal Early Access. Primal Systems Incorporated. Wallet of Satoshi got railroaded in the United States because of regulations and things like that. This is the easiest Lightning wallet I've seen to set up. Basically, it's very minimal KYC. It asks your first, last name, email address, city and state, I believe. You do what you want with that. Maybe you mess around with some things to make it work. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just use your email address and it is what it is. But basically what this is going to allow you to do is to send micropayments to people. Instead of liking their post, you can send them a 1 Satoshi, a million Satoshis, whatever you want. But this wallet interacts with it in the mobile app. Web app is still a work in progress because I have an extension in my web browsers that handles all of this for me, and that web extension is now invite only. So I have to figure out a new easy button for the web side of it, the web browser side of it. But if you Hey, Jim, you said you're using Amethyst on Android for Nosrt. Are you using Albi for a wallet? That's where I'm running into problems. Albi's invite only. Wallet of Satoshi is no longer. Mutiny wallet requires a upfront deposit for liquidity on Lightning. So you have to have a little bit, and so does Zeus wallet. You use ZBD and Albi and Wallet of Satoshi with a VPN. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out the best way, the easiest. And that's my goal, is someone that is on their phone on Facebook and they're like, this Facebook kind of sucks. Let me try something new. Can watch this video and in 10 minutes, because literally it took me 3 or 4 minutes, but I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I wanted to do. It took me 3 or 4 minutes to get this set up on the computer and on my phone. So 10 minutes, somebody can get on there and with some best practices and a little bit of stick poking and coaching, can start interacting there and building their own experience. And then explore further from there and start looking at other clients and start looking at other wallets. But trying to take that person from zero to using it and enjoying it in the quickest path of least resistance is my goal. And I want to make sure it's right. So give me a couple of days. But if you want to mess around with Primal, we were talking about it in the Telegram chat, t.me/lots chat. We were talking about it yesterday. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask them there. You're more than welcome to show your excitement or share. Definitely come join the Telegram group and hang out if you want to talk about Bitcoin, Nosrt, or just any nonsense that you really. It's an open forum of shenanigans, I guess you would say. And a lot of useful information too. There's a lot of great people that post a lot of great stuff, and I appreciate all of you. But that's it today, guys. I'm at 1 hour and 3, so I should probably wrap up and get working on this Nosrt thing. Yeah, Jim's talking about the pop-up with Nosrt or on Amethyst. Got it. But I'll be working on that, guys. Think about how busy you are and why. Think about the purpose behind all the things that you're doing on a daily basis, and if they're pushing you towards the things you really want. And really take an evaluation of the things you really want and why. Because they might not be the same as what they were when you set sights on them. Maybe it's time to reevaluate. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, I appreciate everyone listening. And if you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit that like and the share for sure. And if you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. To return value for value, please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on a value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm, or find me over on Nosrt and zap my posts. That's always a value for value exchange also. You can also visit thelotsproject.com to find out more information about me, find all those affiliate links, partner companies, discount codes, and the like. You can also contact me or, find out all sorts of stuff. You can shop in the shop, find t-shirts, mugs, comfrey roots, and crowns, even whole plants. I appreciate you listening. Like I said, guys, it's Thursday. You got one more to get through, and then it'll be Friday on the downhill into the weekend. I hope you have a very productive, busy, and purposeful day, and we will catch you on Friday.